In this video, it's the final drive of Rita the Rover. Probably. Yes, she's still here, but let's talk about that once we get underway. Just clamber in. Good old Rita the Rover. I'll attach you to the window, like so. Attach my microphone to the seatbelt, like so. And we're ready to go. The vibration, already testing the power of the image stabilization on that camera. There is a fair amount of vibration, which could be because there's a Duff engine mount. It could just be because it's a diesel. I've got to turn the temperature down a bit. But I thought we'd have one last drive because this is the final few days of me having insurance and tax on this car. So it's the last time I can take it for a legal drive. So here we go. Still rather sluggish, nothing above 3,000 revs, much as before. So you make your progress with the engine revs low. And you just keep firing in the power and use the torque, actual torque. After driving the Nissan Primera, this is rather like jumping into a comfy slipper, albeit a slipper that feels a bit too tight. I mean, I could actually lower my seat a bit. I'm just not sure I trust the mechanism enough to actually try and do that. It's technically not my car anymore. I've been paid for it. It's just that COVID restrictions have made collection nigh on impossible for the poor owner. So I'd just like to point out, I'm not annoyed about having the car still around. It's fine. I was worried there were going to be issues with the works they were doing at my unit, but that's all happened. It's been okay. So that's fine. We're all fine and dandy. If I came across as slightly knocked previously, it was only because people comment on it on all the time. Oh, Rita's still here. And it's just like, yes, she is. Because the owner cannot physically collect the car at the moment. He lives quite a long way up in Scotland on the west coast, so getting someone to deliver the car would be prohibitively expensive, I would suggest. I certainly wouldn't be willing to pay that much, probably more than the car is worth to get it all the way up there. But Rita's been sitting for a couple of weeks. I don't like cars sitting around even when I've sold them, so I thought I'd take her out for a last drive, a bit of a last hurrah. But yeah, compared to the Nissan, the ride in this is just sublime. It's just the cozy, hemmed-in feel I don't like on this car. Just the width of that pillar is enormous. And yeah, it all just feels a bit too close and intense. I know some people have left comments going, oh, I'm bigger and I don't understand that feeling, but it's just the vibe I get. It's the vibe I've always got with 75s. They just tip into that modern car era of everything being a bit too close for comfort, which is odd given, you know, packed with airbags and safety features. And now they've discovered the biggest issue is legs, because there's so many hard plastics down here and the footwells are so tight because everything is so crammed in. Legs then become the problem. And yeah, I think generally the best advice is no matter what car you're in, maybe don't crash. Crashing best avoided. But I've got almost a full tank of fuel in here. I filled her up at some point for God knows what reason. So given I'm paying road tax and insurance, I thought we'd go for a drive. I should be putting Ellie back together again, but as the weather's rubbish, there doesn't seem any particular rush to do that. We are in for better weather this week, so I will get that done. But for now, hey, let's go for a drive. Just enjoy these excellent and enormous windscreen wipers that clear so much of the windscreen. No triangle of doom now fitted. I've just adjusted that blade up a bit, so that's all good. And this is what this car does best. It's just the waft. And I do miss wafting in cars. The GSA has the wafty suspension, but the GSA does not have a wafty engine because it's very revvy little air-cooled engine, so yeah, it can't quite manage the effortless waft of a DS, say. Yeah, oh so comfortable. So Rita the Rover, hopefully in the next couple of weeks she'll be on her way all the way back up to Scotland, which is fitting because that's where she came from. But Scotland is a very big country. It's not just a little bit on top of England. It's huge, Scotland, and I'm very much hoping to get up there. So maybe we'll see Rita again in a future video. It's been good fun to catch up with her. Lots of people I'd like to see in Scotland as well, so let's hope at some point this year we can manage that. But of course, one reason I'm craving waft so much is because of a certain Ford Fairmont that I drove around New Zealand. That was an excellent wafting car. I do miss that car very much. But I'm looking forward to doing more road tests again as well. I miss doing the road tests. I've got a museum visit that's going to lead to another very interesting video. So I'm looking forward to showing you more about that. But really, yeah, it's getting out and doing the road tests. I've already got quite a list of cars that has come in. So apologies if I haven't got back to you yet. It's just trying to work out logistics when I can be in certain places. But some very interesting cars on the list. So looking forward to getting those back underway again. But yeah, it's interesting to think where Rita the Rover went wrong. And I guess after that trip to Coventry to drive the electric Ami, when she broke down because of the alternator, it did knock my confidence in this car. And I think that's probably a bit unfair because alternators fail all the time on all manner of cars. So it's a bit unfair to hold it against Rita. When, yeah, I mean, that's just a general thing, alternators go. Ellie's had her fair few of alternators over the years. In fact, when I first got Ellie, I had several issues because I think the bearing had gone in the alternator. So it was snapping bolts, which was quite a hint that something was probably not quite right. And then one day it just seized entirely, and I had to push her to where I was working at the time, which thankfully wasn't too far away, because the alternator just seized and the engine cut out. The engine could not turn with the seized alternator. Downsides of having so little power. A normal car would probably have just shredded the belt. Yeah, this is nice. You can kind of just leave this car in fifth all day once you're up to 40 miles an hour. So it ends up feeling like an automatic. Coming into Sarnai, not far from the Internal Fire Museum, one of my favourite places. I hope they'll be able to open later this year. Then you miss going to places and actually seeing stuff. Yeah, I've been very fortunate. I've had a very pleasant lockdown, really, all things considered. A lovely little family, but I now call home. Yeah, you do miss just going and seeing things and different sights and sounds. So it'd be nice to get moving again. I can do this now, even though this technically works. I'm talking to you. I can actually sort of go for drives, and we haven't yet. We had the whole weekend free, but the weather was terrible and we felt knackered, so we ended up not going anywhere on our first weekend of freedom. So I hope you'll forgive us that. But we do have some trips planned, some exploits in Ellie the 2CV coming up in April. Is it April? No, May. Sorry, May is when those exploits are. So I must sort out her bodywork. Her bodywork is not in great shape. Yes, thank you for all your comments and everyone who joined in with the premiere of the 2CV tinkering video yesterday. I thought, as it was a weekend, it might be nice to have a premiere. It's where we have a live chat window for about half an hour before the video goes live, and also during, so we can all talk about what we're seeing happening on screen. And it went down really well, so very pleasing. Thank you for being a part of that if you were. Thank you for watching later on if you did. And thanks always for the comments. Very pleased to finally have the correct manifold on Ellie the 2CV. Interesting to see if she now runs better as a result. Here we go, Internal Fire Museum of Power. Off to our left now. Can't really see it from here. Sometimes when you come down here you can see the exhaust pipes on the roof puffing away. That can be quite entertaining. But yes, later this year we do hope to have a bit of a tour of the UK. That's going to be very much COVID permitting, so I can't really talk about any details. I haven't really got any details yet, but that is something we are aiming to do, so we can come and say hello, because it's been a while. You know, I haven't had a Hub Nut Social since I was in Melbourne, Australia over a year ago, and that one fittingly was almost exactly 2 years after, no, 1 year after the first social. So what a year that was. Yeah, that saw the first social take place. Huge turnout, it was wonderful. Went to Las Vegas, had a social there. The Netherlands, Where else did I have them? I think was it just the Netherlands one, and then the next one was over in New Zealand, bizarrely, near Wellington. That was great. Yeah, they've all been fun. I love having socials, and we call them socials with good reason, because they are very social events. So, you know, people may come because they want to see me and the cars, but little friendships develop, people chatting corners. Oh, I love it. Oh, that is flat as a pancake, Rita. It's frustrating I never got to the bottom of what the problem is, but this car is definitely not pulling as well as it should. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can drive it quite quickly anyway, because there's such a good band of torque between 2,000 and 3,000 revs. But yeah, you can get a shift on anyway. It's a bit like driving an old BX non-turbo diesel. No point revving it, there's no power up there. Just use the torque. But you know, we're doing 60 miles an hour. I've never been down this road in my life, so this is fun. It's got a pedestrian and a high vis there. Someone coming the other way will knock a bit of speed off. Yeah, I'm reminded how good the setup is on these Rover 75s. I mean, despite the fact they're no sports car, they just handle tidily. There's no surprises, bit of body roll, but it's not unbearable, especially to a 2CV. Definitely blow a few cobwebs out, eh, Rita? Because, you know, I want to make sure she's running all right before she tackles the big drive back to her next home. Got some winter tyres on the front as well, so well suited to rural parts of Scotland. Now, when I had tyres put on the Sherrard, I did wonder about going for all-season tyres, but in truth, now I live that much nearer the coast, really cold days don't tend to happen quite so much, so I'm not sure I'm going to see the benefit. Like living in the south of England. Sure, there'll be the odd day where you get caught out where the weather's really snowy, but really snowy days come along, you know, once every few years. So you might have worn out your winter tyres by the time there's actually any proper wintry weather to deal with. So yeah, it's a very tricky one with the winter tyres. It's very borderline in this country. Countries like Germany and obviously Scandinavia, they have proper winters, so proper winter tyres are essential. But there you go, that's just another waffle video, I'm afraid, because I'm meant to be working on cars, hence wearing my work trousers with the big boxy knee pads, but I'm actually just razzing about the countryside in the Rover 75, so sorry about that. More tinkering is due, more excitement is due, and I look forward to sharing that with you in upcoming videos. So thank you for watching, and I shall see you soon. Farewell.